A very warm welcome from Dublin. It's just past the hour now, so we're going to jump right into how to simplify chip-to-cloud security for my IoT devices with Crypto Quantique and Renesas. My name is Ciara McCarthy. I'm the Global Marketing Director for EPS Global, and I'm based in Dublin. But we've pretty much got the globe covered here today with attendees from all across the US, UK, Denmark, France, Germany, Australia, Canada, and India, to name a few. Kate Mila Fáilte, that's welcome in Irish, and thanks for joining us today. Okay, so there's many impressive benefits from the Internet of Things, but more and more IoT devices and a more complex IoT ecosystem also means increased security vulnerabilities from chip to cloud. Unfortunately, many companies ignore these risks and put off adopting IoT security strategy until it's too late. Legislation in effect or coming down the line is going to hold C-suite executives personally liable for IoT security breaches because real lives are at stake. COVID-19 has only made threats more prominent as more people are working from home, possibly with sensitive data. But if you develop a good understanding of the IoT security risks and how to mitigate them, it will help you build confidence in the security of your supply chain, protect your business's IP, which is obviously very important, but most important of all, protect the consumers and the industries that use your IoT products. This webinar aims to do exactly that. It's a practical guide on how to implement seamless, scalable security for your IoT devices from chip to cloud. Which brings me nicely on to introducing our three industry experts, starting with Brian Colgan from EPS Global. So, Brian has many years experience in the semiconductor industry, previously working in Xilinx Research Lab and as a sales rep for Cypress Semiconductor. He's currently a field applications engineer and a security specialist at EPS, where he supports customers with their MCU and FPGA requirements. Brian also specializes in secure provisioning solutions for connected devices. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Engineering even, from the Technical University of Dublin. Joining us today is Chris Jones. You're very welcome, Chris, Crypto Quantique's IoT security specialist. Following a long career which began in avionics design and project management with BAE Systems, followed by field applications engineering with Cypress Semiconductor and Renesas, Chris spent 2 of the last 3 years as a senior application engineer at Secure Things in Cambridge in the UK, working in IoT security. He joined Crypto Quantique in May 2020. Chris holds a BSc in Electrical and Electronic Engineering from the University of Coventry in the UK. You're also going to hear today from Kimberly Dinsmore from Renesas. You're also very welcome today, Kim. With over 30 years experience, Kimberly has participated in and led many product development efforts, from MCU development tools to software stacks, libraries to end products for commercial and military applications. Now responsible for implementing security solutions with Renesas ARM Core MCUs, she enjoys working with other industry experts to create viable solutions for MCU applications. So I'll hand you over now to Chris.
Okay, thank you, Ciara, for that lovely introduction. So as Ciara mentioned, I'm going to talk to you about some of the security products that we can provide you here at Crypto Quantique, along with our partners, EPS and Renesas. So let's first look at the importance of security. Here you need to have the C-suite and the leadership of your company to understand the importance of security. It needs to go all the way through upper management of your company. And to give you some idea of why that's important, recently Gartner predicted that 75% of CEOs by 2024 will be personally liable for cyber physical incidents, which is pretty scary of companies. So they need to be aware of security and make sure that procedures are put in place to put security into their products. And the financial impact as well is quite serious. So also here you can see financial impact of cyber physical system attacks resulting in fatal casualties will reach over $50 billion by 2023. These are pretty scary numbers. And then across Europe, we're finding that because there's a lot of manufacturing expertise in that area, there is a lot of IP theft And to give you some idea of that, the report that we have down here on the link has said that nearly 60 billion euros of economic growth will be impacted due to cyber theft, which is again quite scary, especially when you see that that could translate into up to 300,000 potential job losses. What are the targets? So these are going to be remote type targets. So we're looking at electronic devices and sub-assemblies. Industrial systems, of course, manufacturing plants have a lot of industrial equipment that are connected. They're usually under attack. And then one of the things that's worrying governments is city infrastructure. So this is shutting down power lines, fuel supply lines, etc., and which is highlighting the issue to government agencies. And of course, with our current situation, there's the potential for pharmaceutical production disruption, which again could be quite scary. So I've got a few examples here. You've probably seen quite a few in the press and in news about different attacks that have gone on over the last few years. I've got here a recent one, which is the Colonial Pipeline attack, which happened in May this year, which was quite a significant attack. And the pipeline feeds about 45% of the gasoline of the east coast of America. And this was actually shut down by a cyber attack. Because it was actually causing problems with the increase in fuel prices because people started panic buying, the company actually paid the ransom, which is often not recommended. But it's just something they needed to do to keep the fuel flowing. And then a very sad case was the first death caused by a cyber attack, which occurred at Dusseldorf Hospital University, whereby the IT system of the hospital was shut down by an attack, and they had to turn away an ambulance and ask the ambulance to go to the next nearest hospital, and sadly the patient died during the transfer. So you can see that we need to protect our devices, not only just in the initial production, but actually throughout the life cycle of the products, because they do have real costs, impacts, and they affect real lives. So let's have a look at the benefits of adding security. So often with CEOs, they may talk about how much is the security going to cost them on their end product, but let's have a look at the high value benefits of those. So the first thing is legislation. So legislation is coming in the IoT industry. You may have seen those in the press as well, whereby we have to meet certain best practices. So it's important that companies meet that legislation and don't incur fines from not meeting those. IP protection, which we've said here, is showing a growth in Europe. So if you can protect your IP, then that again is going to save you a lot of cost. Inhibiting malware, so this means you don't have to pay any ransoms, or your network, your IT infrastructure is not shut down, preventing production, giving your branding a bad name, etc. You are more in control of your production. It's not going to be shut down by simple attacks. And with security comes the capability of giving your product a true identity, an provable identity. And this will actually help onboarding onto cloud service providers and add to the benefits of security. And then the standards and certification, they are coming along as well, as I mentioned before, about best practices. So you'll get the benefits that your products will meet certain standards. You can maybe put certain kite marks on your product, helping your customers choose the best and most secure products. So what do you need to think about when thinking about adding security to your product? There are lots of things about it. It's quite complex. And here I've just given you a few of the things that you need to add to your product or think about adding to your product. So you may have heard of certificate management, digital certificates. So they're extremely important. They're closely linked with what we call a public key infrastructure, or PKI, which you need for a good security ecosystem. There is provisioning. How do I get my software into my bare metal device? What roots of trust are out there that I can use? What microcontrollers? What are the different security levels of those roots of trust? Cryptographic keys, I think we've all heard about those. And then there's things like enrollment, which is the actual connection of the device to a server. Onboarding, how do I actually get my device to talk to a cloud service provider? And then, of course, we probably all know about firmware over-the-air updates. You've had your mobile phone looking for an update, and you have to wait for it to be updated to maybe close any holes in any vulnerabilities. So these are all the things we need to think about how we're going to add that to our product. And hopefully I can show you some solutions. So there are several companies out there that can provide security solutions, but what we have found is they only provide solutions for certain areas. So say in this case, an example, company A, they may have a key management server, and that can provide you with the public key infrastructure, which means it can manage all your certificates and your cryptographic keys. And it has a hardware security module to make sure that it meets the latest standards. But basically, they can't really help you connect to a cloud service or to provision your device. They can simply give you this much higher level of security. So although helpful, it doesn't solve the entire security problem that you want to solve. Company B, they may have the security management and the PKI as well, but also they may be closely associated with the cloud service provider. So they can help you with the enrollment side, do the firmware over-the-air updates for you, and the onboarding. They may be able to provide you with SDKs to do that. But again, they may be not so expertise in the more detailed side of this, which is how to provision my device, what microcontroller should I use, how good is its root of trust, etc. And then company C, they may be down on the detail end of things. So they may be able to help you with provisioning. They may have some microcontrollers that they can advise you on, which have different roots of trust. They know how to manage cryptographic keys inside that device, and they'll be able to provide you with an HSM to generate those cryptographic keys. But again, their expertise may be limited to the lower levels, and they may not be able to help you with enrollment of cloud services and certificate management. So that is where Crypto Quantique and EPS come to the fore. We have expertise in all these areas. Using our QuarkLink product from Crypto Quantique and EPS's experience in secure programming and provisioning, we can provide you with solutions for all these things and take away a lot of the headache that you have trying to understand all these different security functions. So let's talk a little bit about the QuarkLink. So what actually is a QuarkLink? So basically, this is our cloud security platform. So this is basically a piece of software that can run under a Windows or Linux environment. It can run on a server on your premises or in the cloud or anywhere you'd like it to run, actually. And once you install the QuarkLink onto the server, it basically automatically generates the PKI system for your IoT ecosystem, and it will manage that for you. So basically that headache is taken away from you straight away. It manages the device certificates, so it can do issuance of certificates, it can revoke certificates. If maybe a vulnerability has been found, you want to disconnect the device, and it can automatically renew those certificates. So again, that's something it can do for you, and it's done automatically. It can manage the security policy. That's basically what resources can my device use once it's connected to the cloud service. The QuarkLink can handle that for you too. It can handle the data encryption from the device to maybe a web application that you want your device to talk to. The QuarkLink can manage the data encryption for that as well. It includes an HSM. So again, that comes with the QuarkLink. So again, you don't need to worry about what an HSM is or does. It's a cloud-based HSM, and it can basically manage all your cryptographic keys. So QuarkLink is a Docker-based software package, and this is basically agnostic because it can actually run on any containerized technology, which could be on a Linux or Windows server, as I said. Because it's Kubernetes-based, it means that it is auto-scaling. That means that if maybe lots of devices, say tens of thousands of devices, are trying to onboard to a QuarkLink at once, then the Kubernetes will kick in, check the CPU utilization, and extend the instances of that QuarkLink to ensure that the onboarding devices, the time for that is kept to a minimum. So that is why the QuarkLink is still allow many IoT devices to be connected at once.